Anybody, anything? Did you have any wins last week? Nobody had any wins last week. You didn't do anything.
I had 2 open houses Saturday and Sunday, and then 2 investor showings with 2 different clients, and then kind of like 2 half buyer consultations over the phone from the open houses last week.
Okay.
Previous week.
Not bad for birthday week, huh?
Not bad.
So what was the best part of all that for you?
I think just the experience and having more real estate conversations in detail, like in depth.
Okay. Love that. It is all about conversations, isn't it?
Definitely.
Hi, Cheryl.
Yes.
My name is Renee D. I am new to KW. So I was sent this link via email from Shawana. So if you could just give me a quick top line on what this is.
Sure. Yeah, it'd probably be a good idea, huh?
Well, it just sounds like this is a weekly thing. It may be something good for me. So,
so it is. It's essentially we are. I should probably do a brief intro every time because new people will be coming and going. So we are labbing, which means we're prototyping in Keller Williams lingo, a program called the Business Bootcamp, and it is right now 12 sessions. And we're running on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And it literally takes you through how to set up your phone for real estate to writing your deals and building your business. We've created it to create leverage for those agents that are in the mentorship program so that we can be on a fast track as opposed to just working with the launch coaches in isolation. So that's kind of what we're doing here.
okay.
Everyone is welcome. Emma, what are you doing? Pardon me. I hold on. Okay, go on.
So this, can I ask a question? So this is a launch program for mentor members, but anybody can join?
Yes.
Because there's and you're saying you're testing this program.
That's correct.
Awesome. Okay. Because I kind of fall in between the mentor and the coaching. So that's why I'm trying to figure out where I belong.
Sure. Sure.
So thank you for that.
No problem. It's a good call. I probably need to make sure that I'm doing some type of introduction every class to make sure that nobody's getting left behind. Does anybody else have any questions about what we're doing? Or are they here for the first time?
Yes, actually, I understand I'm brand new, so I'm trying to follow the
okay, so now I need
procedures right here. Kind of
hi.
up my database.
Let's see, where are the
but I still have a problem to because a lot of information for the previous sessions. But when I really go into to do myself, I feel something I heard from you, and it's very easy to understand when you listen to it. But when you put your hands on, suddenly you feel, oh, how do I do this, how to do that? I kind of, since I'm going to join a small group meeting this afternoon with Brian, so I think maybe I can discuss this with him more in detail. But for me, I'm thinking if we kind of model this boot camp with a hypothetical case and from start to from beginning to finish. Maybe that will make them more specific, because a lot of information, those things are, you have to do it to remember that or know really how to do it. Otherwise, it's easy to understand. It's very logical, but there's so many steps and the details. If you don't do that, still, just like learning how to swim, and you can understand.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
How does everybody feel if we put this in context and we like started on session 1 with a pretend client, so to speak, so that it purely was we were taking a single client through the entire process? Do people feel that that would be helpful? You can either say in the chat or raise your hand or just shake your head yes or no, or
I think it would be genius.
Yes, I would love that.
yeah.
I would like that as well.
Good. All right, David, we will switch it up and I will create a scenario for a client.
Okay. Something like that. I now understand the participants in your boot camp, they might be in different stages. Like me, it's brand new. I haven't started. I don't have any client at all at this moment. I'm trying to kind of launch the platform first. But some agents, they even have the appointments. They even have the listing already. So maybe, this gap or difference between the participants will have the different, expectations from this book.
Well, since we're labbing, I'm letting just anybody that wants to be a part of it to be a part of it. When we actually launch the program, it'll be limited to anyone with less than 4 transactions.
Okay.
So everybody will be in more of a boat. Because this is a new process, I wanted to have as many eyes on it as possible.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Because I only think one way. Well, I believe it's the right way. Just kidding. More eyes that you have on something, the greater the exposure.
Okay.
Right. And things that I might not think of, or I might teach you something that you really don't need to know. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Can I ask one more question, Cheryl?
Just one more, Renee. Then you've used your limit.
I know. Well, I should have a limit, just so you know. But anyways, so this is the deal. I like this idea about the mentor, but moving forward, is there anything that would be like after your 4 transactions? Like, is there like a boot camp 2?
So I'm working on an advanced class.
Oh, I would love to help you with that, or meet with you on a separate level, because this is my 3rd month. I've been in the business 7 years, and I just have some insights.
Good.
But yeah, boot camp 2 would be ideal for some of us.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So what I realized was when I was putting this all together that I had more information. So yes, we are going to do a advanced course. I probably won't start working on that till the 2nd quarter.
Okay.
We get this all really wrapped up, because we'll have greater input from the other market centers, I think, as things begin to progress along.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I get more and more leadership in the other market centers involved.
Okay.
So yeah, I will absolutely take you up on that.
Well, I'm from Aurora Market Center, so I could get anybody involved that you want. You just let me know.
Okay, I will definitely keep that in mind. So I should probably then do every time a brief introduction of myself. So my name is Cheryl McDonald. I've been Keller Williams Infinity for 6 years in March. I've been with KW for 8 years. I've been in the business for 17. I got in the business as a trainer and not as a real estate agent. So sold real estate so that I would be able to say I walked a mile in your shoes. And when I walked that mile, I was done. So selling real estate is not my favorite thing. I went to school to learn how to work with adult learners. So I'm the head coach in Naperville, and I run a opt-in coaching program for those people that have finished their 4. And my program essentially is high-level accountability. You're not hiring me to be your friend. You're hiring me to get you to where it is that you want to go. So it should be my catch line is just hate me all the way to the bank. I don't care. And it's not that I don't have enough friends, but that's not what you're hiring me for. So typically on the average, if someone joins my coaching program, they can see right now, my statistic is they will see almost an 80% increase in their business. So I love what I do. I would do it for free. And as we say in the coaching business, if you think living on commission is hard, you should try living on someone else's commission. So, and so part of that is creating this program so that we can get you, because I am here purely to serve you, to get you into production as quickly as is humanly possible, because real estate agents that are making money are happy. And they have a tendency not to leave. And so this is one of our unique value propositions to serve you at the highest level. Do you have any questions about that? Was that short enough for those of you that this is your first time on the call? Was that enough of an introduction to me to give you some sense of confidence that I know what I'm doing?
Yes, thank you.
Welcome. For those of you that have been on this call 6 times, was that short enough that you could tune me out and go get a cup of coffee while I did my introduction?
Yes.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Erica.
Cheryl,
Yeah.
good morning. My name is Shantivia White, and I'm a fairly new agent to Keller Williams as well. I'm with Keller Williams Experience in Downers Grove. And I just love your personality, actually. It reminds me of myself. And you remind me of Lynn Madison, and I just love her to pieces. She's straightforward, to the point. It is what it is. But I'm just interested in your mindset when it comes to technology. How do you incorporate technology into the building of business with real estate?
A great question. I'm an early adopter, which means I always want to be ahead of the curve. So they always say if you're the smartest, that you're in the wrong room, right? And I'm gonna be a bit of a devil's advocate on that. There are certain situations in that I want to be the smartest person in the room. That does not mean that I am not open to learn, like just what David said. It never occurred to me to put this in a context of client A. And so I'm going to have some fun with creating that, who those clients are for you and what they're looking for. So technology is here to stay. Guys, it is not going anywhere. It will not replace us as the fiduciary, right? And it's not about just opening doors, because they don't need us to find properties anymore. They need us to guide them through the process, right? To protect their monetary position. Most of the people that we encounter, this will be their single largest financial transaction in their lives. And so I want to guard that tooth and nail for my clients. I want them to feel so protected. So with that becomes the use of technology. I'm doing a transaction right now. I don't actively sell all the time. I am involved in a transaction right now with my son-in-law, and he's buying a for sale by owner. And the owners live in California. And it's been so nice to be able to do this transaction and have documents signed and communicate through command to get this deal done. Otherwise, it would have just been a nightmare if I would have had to FedEx or mail this stuff to them. And interesting that you should bring this up. I watched a series of videos over the last 2 days on just that. And one of the things is technology should make our business more profitable. So that instead of spending money on third-party vendors, right? They're building command so that all of that stuff's in there, so that instead of spending $1,200 a month on third-party vendors, that $1,200 a month is going towards my profit and towards my family and toward the reason why I'm in this business in the first place. The other thing I'd like you to remember about technology is you cannot break it. You just can't. But you have to get in and play with it and practice it. And most of the stuff that I've learned is because I've gone in somewhere and gotten lost and figured something else out. So I encourage all of my coaching clients to time block 15 minutes a day, set a timer, and go into command and just play around. And when the 15 minutes is up, stop. Otherwise, you're going to get burned out or you're going to get frustrated. So my mindset around this is it's coming. It's not going away. So let's embrace it early. Does that answer your question?
It absolutely does. Thank you.
Good. So let me ask you, what's your mindset around technology?
I absolutely love technology. It makes things easier. I'm a firm believer in work smart, not hard. But I'm coming back into the business. I was a realtor maybe about 10 or so years ago when the bubble bursted. So I have the mindset of learning everything all over again as if I was never here, start from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But I have noticed some agents still do things the old-fashioned way.
Yes, they do.
I was just interested to know what you thought about it.
Let me share a quote with you that I picked up yesterday from Jason Abrams, and you can watch these videos actually that I watched. And he says, leaders, because all of you are leaders, right? Talk about the future. And he said, real estate agents that embrace technology will replace the agents that don't. So think about, we're in a pandemic, a global pandemic, right? So it's not just affecting us here in Chicago. It's global. So all of us are, as in one of my friends posted today, we're not all in the same boat. We are all in the same storm. And I love that. Isn't that great? Because here's
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
You know, she said, there's some people that are going through this storm in yachts.
Yeah.
And some people are on rowboats and some people are on canoes and rubber rafts. And you know what? Some people out there don't have a boat.
Yeah.
And so it's difficult. We shouldn't be comparing ourselves with other people because we don't know what kind of boat they're in. Now I totally forgot where I was going. Patty, help.
Jason Abrams.
Thank you. Everybody, this is Patty Hansen, and she's my rudder. Patty keeps me on the straight and narrow and reminds me where if I wander off.
I need one of those.
Yeah, well, Patty's mine. You can't have her.
Oh man.
You can have her for a price.
There you go.
That's right, Patty.
We are.
I did want to say one thing about the 15-minute per day. I think that's one of the best recommendations that I've heard since I signed the Keller Williams papers.
Good.
It's genius. Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome. Yeah. You know, they say mastery is 10,000 hours. Well, that's 3 hours a day for 10 years.
Yep.
And so if you want to get there faster, then you do 30 minutes, right? But I have found that the average, or most of the people I coach can tolerate 15 minutes.
Yep.
And when learning technology, frustration is just a natural part of that process.
Right.
But what we're doing is really amazing. It's intuitive. It's going to allow us to serve our clients at a higher level and bring value that agents that are not a part of our company will not be able to provide. So I'm super excited about that. And if you're a person that's on this call right now and you don't embrace technology or you're afraid of it, I can appreciate that. Is there anybody on the call that would be willing to share that's had some hesitancy around technology and has kind of overcome that? Okay.
I don't have insight on that, but I do have insight coming from a marketing background for 25 years that, and I'm brand new. I will say the system is like gold. I see that. But you have to work it to make it, to turn it into gold.
Well, I think the nice thing is that if you've used technology as a living thing, and it will be changing, and the more we use it, and the more we offer feedback, the more it will do what we want it to do. So I'm excited. I'm kind of a little technology fiend. I love it. And I'll just leave that at that. Okay, anybody else, any questions, comments, things they're just dying to know?
Are you going to tell us about Jason Abrams?
Oh yeah, I did. That he talks about the life of a transaction, and he broke it down into 3 areas. It's lead gen, follow up, and then the actual transaction management, and how Command covers all 3 of those areas. And really, he started out by saying that leaders talk about the future, right? So we should be talking about how technology is going to enhance our business and make us more profitable. He says we need to answer all of our questions in this order. Do we have the right model or system? Whatever that looks like. So let's take MREA for an example. That's the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. That is a model and a system. And I'm going to garner, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably the best real estate model and system that I've ever seen. So once we've decided that we have the best model or system, do we have the technology in place to support that model and system to give us more time and make our business more profitable? Then once we have the best models and systems in place and the technology that supports it, do we have enough of the right people in place? So he says it's a marriage of technology and people. It's not that one replaces the other. And he said, every time you encounter a situation in your business, always ask yourself, do I have the best system in place? Is there a model out there already? Right? So let's say that you're going to do open houses and you don't even know where to start. Is there a model or a system out there that you could follow? So when Gary talks about scripts, he says that we need to memorize, internalize, and then customize. So I jokingly say that sometimes I don't know that I have an original thought in my head anymore. I have been coached by a woman, her name is Diana Kokoska, and she is probably one of the country's best real estate coaches. And I'm mentored by Gary Keller, as each of you are, should you choose to read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And I'll be sitting and I'll be listening to them talk, and they'll say something. I'm like, hey, that was my idea. Well, no, I've just been so conditioned to think that way that I thought it was my idea. And, you know, they jokingly say, if you say something 3 or more times, it does become your idea, right? And that's okay, because those are my mentors. And I've memorized the scripts. I'm not smart enough. So Diana Kokoska, in her first year in the business, as a woman in the 80s with 2 little boys, sold 104 homes. When I can sell 104 homes in my first year in business, then I'll tell you what to say. Until then, I'm going to say what Diana said. Because we all use scripts, whether they're formal or informal. You're using a script right now. Why not use a script that is scientifically proven to get people to move into action? The number one objection I get is, Cheryl, but it doesn't sound like me. No, you sound poor. I want you to sound rich. I want you to sound like a profitable business owner. And here's the thing, if it's coming out of your mouth, it sounds like you. That's why we memorize, and then we internalize, and then you customize. So I memorize my scripts this way. I have a glass shower enclosure. So I would type up the scripts, and I would put them in a sheet protector, and I would tape them to the outside of the shower. And I would memorize my scripts while I was in the shower. Then I would take 3x5 cards, and I would write down the scripts on 3x5 cards. And I had 2 sets. One I carried with me at all times. The second set was in the car. And I would prop up a 3x5 card on the dashboard so that when I stopped at stoplights or I was waiting in line at Starbucks, I would work on my scripts. And I would memorize them a line at a time. Then I got a hold of as many people as would listen to me. And I would do script and role play practice. I still do it 3 times a week. My people are in Kansas City, they are in New York, and they are in Austin, Texas. They do not have to be people that you know. They don't even have to be people in real estate. They just have to be someone that will listen to you. Script practice should not take more than 20 minutes. That means, so let's say Renee is my script partner. And we're do script practice on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock in the morning. I would call Renee at 8 o'clock in the morning, and there would be no idle chit chat. I would say, hey, Renee, Cheryl McDonald with Keller Williams. The purpose of my call today is, and I would launch into my script. Renee, when we're done, would offer constructive feedback. I am not looking for the president of my next fan club. I want someone that's going to tell me the truth so that I can get better. And if I can't feel safe with Renee, then I will never feel safe saying these words to anyone. We'll finish, then Renee will do her script. I will offer her feedback as a gift, and we will hang up. Now, if I want to call Renee later and talk about kids, dogs, or COVID, I will do that. But that is not the purpose of our morning call. Right? You guys, are you following me on that? This doesn't have to take a really long time. And you time block for it, and you don't do anything else. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 8 o'clock, I have calls. That doesn't mean that Renee can't meet at her time at 10 today, so she'd like to meet today at 8. Well, I have an appointment at 8 o'clock on Tuesdays. It's with Mickey Strobel. So it's about being committed to what you put on your calendar, right? So Patty and I have a standing appointment on Fridays at 8. And that's a perfect time for me and Patty. You know, when she first, Patty, is it okay if I talk about this?
Sure.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask Patty's permission and I needed to do that. And here's the thing, if Patty had said, Cheryl, I'm uncomfortable, I would stop. So when Patty is an early riser and she said, can we meet at 8 o'clock in the morning? And my first reaction was, no, I have a date on Friday mornings with my dogs. I walk them every morning. And I said, Patty, that's going to cut into my dog walking time. So we met a couple Fridays at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I found out that I really liked it because then on Fridays, I got up just a half an hour earlier so that I could still get the dogs walking in. And it actually works better for me because I start Friday earlier in the day, which means I'm ending earlier. But that doesn't mean that if David calls me and says, hey, Cheryl, can you meet Friday at 8? That I get to call Patty and say, I got a better deal. Can we do 8:30? No. Patty has Fridays at 8 o'clock on my schedule. Right? I have an appointment with her that is non-negotiable. Now, is Patty going to get stuff that she's got to do and we have to reschedule? Am I going to have a really nasty headache one day and not be able to meet? Or is a leadership issue going to come up that I can't get out of? Absolutely. If you're not keeping your commitments to yourself and your calendar, you're not going to keep your commitments for anything. Are you guys with me on that? It's that important. Time blocking super easy. The hard part is being committed to it. Okay. So I want you to begin to think in models and systems, technology, and then people. And remember that real estate agents that adapt, that embrace technology are going to replace the agents that don't. And I want all of you on this call, if I could give you one, if I could like wave a magic wand and give you any wish, it would be that you would blow your 2021 goals out of the water. Because you did not go through that terrible pre-licensing class and spend all that money to come into this business and not be successful. Right? Nobody walked through our doors going, I am going to suck at this. Right? We all got into this business because we thought that it would give us what we wanted. How many people in here, just by, raise your hands and think, have had a job, a 9-to-5 job, a job that you got up and you went to every day? Guess what? You have a job, except now you work for you. And if you don't like your boss, that's going to be a problem. You got up and you remained committed to a schedule when you were working for someone else. Now it's your turn to generate wealth for you and your family. So I want you to think of this in the same mentality that you thought about when you got up and you went to work. Most real estate agents got into this business for flexibility, right? Freedom and wealth. I will tell you that 99.9% of the real estate agents get the flexibility part. Very few get the wealth part because you've so nailed the flexibility part. Right? I do my best not to answer my phone on Sundays. I'm a bit of a workaholic because I love what I do. There's no real separation between what I do and who I am. And fortunately, I have a husband that is so amazingly supportive and really cute that I
It
really,
helps when they're cute.
huh?
It helps when they're cute.
Yes, it does. It does. But he asked me once to not come home and be on the telephone. So if I'm on the phone, I stay parked out front, or I say, hey, Patty, gotta go. I'm pulling in the garage. And so I say no to him Monday through Saturday. And I refuse to do that on Sundays. So my business got to a point that I could set that boundary. Now, if you're a coaching client or you're one of my mentees and you're in the middle of negotiating a deal, I will pick up my phone on Sundays. But there are no real estate emergencies. Ever. I'm going to say that really slowly one more time. There are no real estate emergencies. Okay. All right. I think I've rambled on long enough. Anybody questions, comments about what's going on so far? Great. So this program is here to support you, give you knowledge. Your launch coaches are there to help you implement this material. And they're copied on everything. And I see that my good buddy Brian is on the call. So Brian, I don't know if you want to chime in and add anything to kind of help me out here, or ignore me. Okay, great.
Sorry, I was on a phone call.
Oh, sorry, buddy. I'm just taking my AIT a little seriously.
Got it. I heard my name and then ignore me. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm good with that.
Hey, the camera looks nice.
It's a wider angle lens now. Like,
yeah.
You can see everything back there.
You can, and I can hear you better too.
Yeah, it's got a mic built into it, so it's not using my computer stuff.
Good.
So what did I miss? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, I would love to have some feedback from you. So as we develop this content, how this is really designed to help get them into production and leverage. And then what I was talking about, how you as their launch coach or any of the launch coaches are really here to support them in this content knowledge and literally walk them through their first 4 transactions.
Yes, I actually will be doing that with one of you later on today, who's writing a first offer. What I normally do with that is I will spend, if you haven't been through the classes and you already got business, we haven't even met yet, but you've got business, I'm here to hold your hand. I'll set up a Zoom. We'll do some screen sharing back and forth. We'll get that offer written and sent off to get it accepted as soon as possible. But I do highly recommend going through all of those contract classes because it makes things so much more quicker. That way you're educating yourself as well. You know, you got to take your time to go to the classes that we offer.
Right. I liken it to this. A surgeon would not go into an operating room without a scalpel. Right? We definitely don't want them going in there with a butter knife. We want them in there with the right tools. Your contract, the contracts and forms are your scalpel. Right? Learn those contracts and forms. Jack teaches a class every Monday at 1 o'clock on contracts and forms. If you're a member of Main Street, Lynn Madison does some amazing tutorials. I think it's like, I don't know, how many hours is it, Brian? Do you know?
Honestly, I don't know, but she goes so deep into it. I
Yeah.
need to put waders on.
Yeah. So the best way to get to know it is to continue to read it over and over. I know Brian has his clients write it in their own language so that they really understand it. But I would go download all those contracts and forms and I would just start reading them. So thanks, Brian. I appreciate that. You look so nice.
The wife doesn't agree with it though.
She
She's like,
doesn't.
what's that animal on your face?
I don't know. Just go finish up her mudroom.
Yeah, and I'll work on that later on today.
Good. Okay. So what we want to do every day is time block a portion of your day to prospect. And that can look any way that you want it to. You can call people, which I will tell you is the fastest way to get business. You can text message, you can direct message, you can do social media, you can do direct mail, you can do open houses, you can do for sale by owners, you can do expired, you can do geographic farming, you can do paid Facebook ads, pay per click. There are multiple ways to prospect and reach out to people. This is a business about building relationships, right? Top real estate agents have 3 lead generation sources that they operate with. Oh, Moon, I'm so sorry that it didn't work, but you're here. Yay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Fireball wasn't working for him. And please don't judge me for my password. So you have to decide what are the 3 ways that you're going to enjoy building relationships with people, right? Because here's the thing. I don't want you to do something right now that is just going to be torture to do. If you can't pick up the phone and call people today, then text them, direct message them on Facebook. Figure out a way to have real estate conversations every day, which means we need to come from value. So think about yourself as a consumer. If you were to hear from a real estate agent, what information would you be looking for? What would you like to know? Odds are that there's a bunch of other people out there that want to know the same thing. Okay? Then figure out how you're going to communicate that to them. Karen mentioned on the Power Up yesterday about Joe Biden's tax credit for first-time home buyers. So I thought, wow, I'm out of the loop on that. So I immediately went and read an article. Well, he's proposing a $15,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers.
$15,000?
Yep, and you do not have to wait to file your taxes to receive the credit back. It goes towards a credit at closing. So you can,
Whoa.
as down payment assistance. This is very similar to the thing that George W. did with the $7,000 tax credit. And then President Obama upped it to $8,000. And you got it back when you filed your taxes. Mr. Biden is proposing a $15,000 tax credit available at closing. It is, you do.
When could this pass, in theory?
Well, once he becomes inaugurated, obviously, and becomes our president, he will need to go to Congress.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that the nature of housing is incredibly important to the economy in this country.
Right.
So I am hoping that housing is not a bipartisan issue, that we'll get some people to come together and agree to this. So that's the kind of stuff that's important information, right? Like, who are you talking to right now that is a potential first-time home buyer from 2021?
Not only that, even talking to the baby boomers, telling them that for their children,
Mm-hmm.
for the baby boomers' kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So it's that kind of stuff that's of value, right? That probably the normal consumer isn't running around thinking about that kind of stuff. There's also Evanston. If you do any real estate up in Evanston, last year their city budget was built upon reparations for real estate. And so there's all kinds of really exciting things that are happening in the real estate industry. This is not just about opening doors and showing people the insides of houses. This is about being their local economist of choice. I would strongly suggest that if you're going to do that, you at least at a minimum, do the Power Up on Thursdays. That's when Pete Economos, Renee, I don't know what day he does it for Aurora. In Naperville, Pete runs all the numbers and you weave a story. The numbers tell a story, right? And that's information that's helpful. Right now, you should all be making calls or doing text messages or direct messages, checking on people for the holidays. I will send you a care script and 12 reasons to list during the winter. And I will post it on our Facebook page. If you are not in the Naperville Market Center and would like to be a part of my coaching page, just go out and search for me and friend request me, and I will invite you to the E2P coaching Facebook page. I don't even know what my profile picture and my cover photo is right now, but anyway. So that's got to be a part of your morning. In all the years that I've been doing this, I have found that 9:30 to 11:30 is the highest. They have the highest pickup percentage when I do it in the morning. If I do it later in the afternoon, I'm making more dials. Anybody have any idea why that's the case? We all, when we start our days, have a much higher level of energy and bandwidth. As the day goes by, we become more busy, we've used up some of our willpower, and we're just not as willing to do stuff that we would in the morning. And we don't answer the phone as often in the afternoon, either because we're busy at work or we just really don't want to talk to anybody. Right? So 9:30 to 11:30 is what worked for me. Then when you're done doing all that prospecting, you'll want to go into command and you'll want to update your contacts with any new information that you found. Write your notes and set your follow-up. So let's say that I had a conversation with Patty today and she's a long-term nurture. She's going to list her house, but she's not going to do it till the spring. Well, I'm going to go in and I'm going to set a task and I'm going to call Patty a month from today just to check in. And then as we come closer to the time that she's going to list, I'm going to increase the frequency. Here's the thing. Most people will use the first agent that they talk to. I don't want a closer to come along and close Patty because I didn't follow up. And again, it's not about the transaction. It's about my relationship with Patty. People do business with people that they like and they trust. So we want to create a certain level of indebtedness that they won't think about anyone else because no one will take better care of them. So I'll share this story with you and I hope that you will find it helpful. Several years ago, I was negotiating a contract with my daughter and son-in-law for a home in Rogers Park. I got an email from my daughter that said, hey, we put in an offer on a property yesterday. I emailed her back and I said, oh, I hope you used a realtor. She emailed me back and she said, oh, we did. I emailed her back and I said, I am so angry and upset with you right now. I cannot have this discussion with you. So long story short, after my son-in-law called and told me what a terrible mother I was, I told my daughter, I said, tell the agent that your mother is a real estate agent and you're expecting a 25% referral fee. I said, it's because the money's not going to be mine. I'm going to give it to you. Well, she wouldn't do it. Well, who ended up doing the whole deal anyway? Me. Because I wanted her to be taken care of. It wasn't about the money. And I also realized that I was going to spend the rest of my life going in and outside of that house, and I just better be a grown-up about it. Well, they sold their house earlier this year. Guess who they called? Me.
Hopefully you,
Yeah, Diane, they did. She's out of the will. And I sold their house in 3 days for a list price. And I negotiated a great deal for them on a buy because of the relationship, not because of the transaction. Now,
I have a question.
I
have a question.
Yes.
I hear this word relationship all the time. And to be honest with you, I get completely confused. I am confused because I don't know, relationship will be only those people who are related to me or friends, or like in that way, I will not be able to sell any house if I don't have any relatives or I don't have a friends whom I invite for dinner or lunch.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to know beyond this abstract terminology meaning.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Great question, Moon. Great question. So when I talk about relationships, it's about the person and not the transaction. Because 75% of your business is going to come from the people that you already know. 25% of your business is going to come from the people that you haven't met yet. So my relationship with the person in the transaction must be more important than the transaction itself. So here's a really good example. I had a client that I believe firmly overpaid for a property. And I was kind of fighting him on it. And it suddenly occurred to me that the client gets to decide the value of the property. I don't get to decide. Right? That's the price that she was willing to pay to put her family in that house. So I had to take a step back and say, what is it that my client wants? Not what do I think is best for them? And am I listening to what they said? So my relationship, or whatever you want to call that, with the person is way more important than the transaction. Does that help?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
So can I add something in here real quick, Cheryl?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead. AIT.
So just to elaborate a little bit and give you an example, during the beginning of this whole COVID shutdown thing, all the schools were not doing their normal graduations. They were doing a graduation parade. One of the things that I did with my drone photography, I went out there and I passed out drone photography business cards and basically donated my time and talents to provide a memory for all of these graduating kids of this parade. Something might have been very touching for some people. And I, started a relationship just by doing something like that, doing something in kind. It has come back around, and I actually just received a phone call last week from somebody that remembered it came from a KW email address, and they reached out to me because they're looking to buy a home. This is a person who contacted a Zillow agent on a particular listing, and it was very a robotic agent. What can I do for you? It was more about the transaction as opposed to about the person. So when she reached out to me, me and her had a conversation. It didn't even talk about buying a house. It was just a conversation about her, about me, had a couple laughs, and then we moved on. I told her, hey, listen, get pre-approved. Here's my couple lenders. Work on that. And in the meantime, please go to my website and check out some of what my past clients have said. Her response to me was, based on our conversation, I don't need to check out anybody's comments about you. I already know we're going to have a good time together. This is going to work out really good for us. That's creating that relationship. Now, I have never met this person, or if I have, I don't know who they are, because I was just handing out business cards, and it could have been one of my kids handing out a business card to people. But because I had that real conversation with them, and it wasn't about the sale, I established that relationship. A relationship is something that you're going to hear a lot in this business, and it doesn't mean you have an intimate bond with somebody and it's family or it's a friend. It's just a person that you're starting to connect with, and at the end of the day, you're going to end up doing business because people want to do business with people that they like. You have to be likable, and that's really where it comes down to, is you being likable. That's all I got.
Can I say something too?
You didn't give me the option, did you?
No, I don't. Is Moon, is that who asked the question about relationship?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fascinating question. And I think everybody's definition on this call, coaches, non-coaches, new kids, old kids, the definition of that word is different for all of us. Okay. So I may want to invite people over and have coffee and wave at them at school and do drone videos at school and all of that. But it goes back to what Cheryl said. To start off, you need to find a script, use a script, work the script until you can create your own script, Moon. So until you can create, like what works for you, Moon, then you can define what relationship means to you, because it is kind of an arbitrary word. I agree. But until that point, maybe follow some of the other advice that Cheryl or other ideas that you may be hearing on these calls until you find what works for you. How are you connecting with these people that you talk to? And then when you find that, that's when you work it hard. So whether it's droning, lunching, going to Starbucks, talking to people on the internet, doing it over Facebook, whatever it is for you, you do, but having those relationships is imperative. Does that help a little?
It's like learning creative writing.
Yes, it's a process. Yes.
There's a process, not an event.
Yes. Okay, sorry, go.
No, don't apologize, Renee. That was great. Brian, thank you so much for that example.
Thanks, Brian. I'm sorry.
No, she's not. We're going to have fun with you, Renee. So, Moon, here's a really good example of someone that's attempting to grow their database, right? So this is a brilliant idea, and I wish I'd thought of it myself, and I didn't. But I'm going to tell the story 3 more times, and then it will be my idea. So this agent, this was obviously pre-COVID, would go to Starbucks. They would buy $100 gift card, and they would hand it back to the barista. And they would say, I would like to buy coffee for the next people that come in here for as long as there's money on the gift card. I will be sitting right over there if they would like to thank me. And they did their lead generation once a week at Starbucks. So the barista, when the people would go to pay, they would say, oh, no, the person over there purchased your coffee today. If you'd like to say thanks, their name's Cheryl. And then you just get engaged in conversation, and that's where relationships begin. So when this COVID thing is over, that is a great idea.
I have a question. Please advise me, and this will be very helpful to me. I don't know how to put my identity in public, but I have been a kind of public person very much. I ran for some political offices. I won and lost. So my name is everywhere.
Good.
I know thousands of people. Now the question is this, and I have been very honest, very outright, forthright, no scandal, nothing. Now my question is this, please advise me when I know that many number of people and they are in contact with me. I have on my Facebook, on Thanksgiving, I wrote down Happy Thanksgiving. 384 people responded to that, 384 people. So I know people in DuPage County, very extensively. Now my dilemma is that so far when I played the role of a political candidate, my role was like, a kind of leader, talking with people, articulating issues, not fighting or quarreling, but, helping people. And they have had very good respect for me. They have been even voting. They voted for me for one position. 175,000 people voted for me. And a lot of people know my name because my name is so peculiar or different or unique. Moon, one time they hear that and they say, oh my gosh, I know this guy. Some of you basically in KW, they asked me, hey, you seem to be very well-known person. I heard this name. And what can I say? But this is the time I'm in front of a doctor, a physician, and I have to ask you the solution. So tell me, how can I cultivate that wide expanse of like ocean-like contact I have? How can I turn around from an activist, a political candidate to a business person? I don't have any problems with name recognition. I don't have anything that they don't know me, and I know them personally. I have their telephone numbers. I might have it, my telephone, almost 4,000 telephone numbers are there, and there's people live here. So tell me, how can I turn into this gold mine into a relationship where
well, first of all,
please.
Congratulations on the size of your database. That is $1 million database.
Thank you.
That is a database that will net you $1 million in real estate sales. My immediate reaction without thinking, and we can open this up to anyone, would be the same reason that these people respected you as a political candidate and a businessman will be the same reasons that they will do business with you as a real estate agent. So what we want to do with you is when we market is really, really seize on the fact that what brought you success in the political arena and as an activist, that you will fight as hard for your real estate clients.
Okay.
Not just so much, it's the same man, right? Different circle. I think that you're primed to do an amazing business, Moon. Who is your coach?
Hey, Moon.
Yes. Hey.
I would love to come work with you.
No doubt. That's what I was thinking.
Hey, can I say something one more? I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just haven't been able to talk to a lot of people lately, and I am loving this call. So if I would send you all a Starbucks gift card right now if I could for your time, but this is the deal, Moon. There's a phone call you can make to these people, and it goes back to the scripts that Cheryl's talking about, and I'm sure KW has a script somewhere in the gold mine. But this is the deal. You can call these people, Moon, and in your own way say, hey, Joe, political contact guy. As you know, or may not know, I'm selling real estate with KW Realty, and sorry, wherever you are, KW.
Bill?
Thank you. And I just wanted to ask you, after maybe a little small talk, do you have any realtors that you recommend to other people that you have a trusting relationship with, type of thing? Actually asking them in a business conversation. Sounds like that's what you're looking for, Moon, because you don't
Yes.
want them to come to your house for dinner like I do. But actually asking them straight up. Cheryl, is there a script? I'm sure you've done that a million times, where you're basically asking them, and that question alone will help you cultivate that relationship with that business contact.
So
Great
my
idea.
favorite script is Ford,
Yeah,
the occupation, recreation, and dreams.
there you go.
So it'll be, hey Moon, how's it going? How's the family? I know COVID's done a lot of shifting around, you know, what's happening with your job. I know we can't really go on vacations. What are you guys doing for fun these days? And when COVID's finally over and you can get out and be mask free, what's the first thing that you're going to do? And then, oh, by the way, I'm not sure if you know it or not, I transitioned into real estate during this crazy time.
Yeah.
I'm working with a coach, and she is having me call everyone in my database that is important to me. And you're
Yes.
the first person I thought of. So I'd like your permission to call you 4 times a year, specifically to ask who you know that needs to buy, sell, or invest in real estate that I could help. Would that be all right with you? And they're all going to say yes. And so you're going to say, great. So let me ask you, do you know anyone that needs to buy, sell, or invest in real estate that I could help today? And they may say, well, no. Okay. You know, I can appreciate you think anybody from work or school or church or, you know, the neighborhood, have you overheard any conversations? Then when I call you the next time, I'm going to say, hey, Moon, Cheryl McDonald, Keller Williams. Purpose of my call today is really to find out how you and your family are doing, right? How's work going? Doing anything for fun? And what are your plans for the future? And hey, Moon, you remember that time I called you and I asked if I could have permission to call you 4 times a year to specifically ask who you knew that you needed to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? And you're going to say yes. And I'm going to say, hey, Moon, this is one of those calls. So let me ask you, who do you know that could benefit from my services to buy, sell, or invest in real estate?
And
Great.
I'm gonna tell you how this is the deal, Moon. I don't know you, but if you're seriously have a database like that, you won't be making many of those calls.
No.
But you want to continue making those calls throughout your whole career. But don't be intimidated, because you're only going to have to make a few calls and that business is going to start coming. That's how it works.
Yeah, you have an amazing database. Whoever your coach is, you want to make sure that you are really, really working on cultivating that database, because 75% of your business is going to come from that database, Moon. And one of the things I really love to do, I have to stop. You guys, we are kind of all over the place today. Is there anybody that needs me to stop? Or are we all good? I just want to do a check-in.
Are we going to do the sellers or
Yes.
the closers
Yep.
checklist at all?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Okay, is everybody okay with where we are? I'll wrap this up and we'll get right to the checklists. You can quantify your database. So you said you had 4,000 people in your database, give or take.
Yes.
Every one of those 4,000 people would know you by name or face.
There's no doubt.
Okay, so according to the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, for Mets in your database, people that know you by name or face, it's a 10-to-1 ratio. So you have the potential for 400 pieces of business in your database. And let's say that the average commission, because we're just going to go easy, right, is $5,000. Your database right now, untapped, is worth $2 million. So if I took $2 million, Moon, and buried it in a box deep in the ground and covered it back over and gave you a shovel and said, all you have to do is dig for the box, would you be willing to do it?
Absolutely.
Okay. Your tool is your database. The $2 million is your database.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for this insight. To be honest with you, this gave me completely a new understanding. I have been very hesitant because when I worked with these people, I never expected anything except down the road to vote for me. Other than that, I never expected anything.
Well, and that's how real estate should be.
Yeah. And so I have been hesitant, to be honest with you, and very much confused that how I can elevate or transition my personality or role or robe or hat into a different, into a real estate broker.
Yeah.
So you and Renee, thank you so much for interrupting and defining that and role. And it gave me, to be honest with you, to some other people, it might be a very maybe wastage of time. For me, it is a kind of hurrah moment, lighting bulb. So it really sparked a new transformation, and I'm more confident that I'm not going to deceive anybody. Thank you. I was just thinking that I will be deceiving, that if I call them and they will say, I want to do this, I'm trying to do this and that. So I was just morally, I was thinking that that will be really, how can I do that? I will be degrading myself. But once
You're
you
going to
gave,
serve them at a different level.
that's what I have been basically doing. Thank you. And but you gave me, you guys gave me a very good understanding, and I hope I will definitely follow up on those regimen which you suggested, and something will come up. I will remember today's date and today's in my life. It is a transformation. Yes.
That's why I do what I do.
Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you, Boone. I appreciate your vulnerability and your transparency. So let's get on to closing checklists.
I have one question for Moon before.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Did you mention which market center you're working from?
Glen Ellen.
Glen Ellen. Okay.
Good. I live in Lombard.
You live in Lombard?
Yes.
All right. So when we started talking about earlier with what Jason had said, that whenever we want to grow our business, we have to attack every opportunity with three things. Is, do I have a model or a system? Do I have the technology to support it and the people to help me? So closing checklists are a system or a model, right? It's when you get ready to close a transaction, it's the same set of steps every time. Nothing should change. And there's 28 people on this call. There may be 28 variations of that closing checklist. There's no one perfect way. There's just your way. Okay. So let's take a look at a few different closing checklists. Okay. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen with you. And this information that I'm showing you will all be sent to you as a deliverable following class today, okay? So let's say we have a checklist and it looks like this. Obviously, we need the address of the property if it's a buyer or seller, right? And maybe you have a different checklist for your buyer and a different checklist for your seller. So MLS number, date of the sale, target closing date, buyer information, seller information, buyer's and seller's attorney. So let me tell you, if you're representing the buyer, why you want the seller's information, and if you're representing the seller, why you want the buyer's information. Typically after a transaction, most real estate agents will orphan their contacts, their clients. So if you represent the buyer, I want you to put the seller's information in your database as well and begin to market to them. If you represent the seller, I'd like you to put the buyer's information. I'd like you to put them on a home anniversary campaign. Every January, I'm going to have you send their closing statements or their settlement statements in an email or snail mail to your clients that closed in the previous year. They may need that information for taxes. You want to plus that, you send it to the other side of the transaction too, because my guess is the agent on the other side is not going to do that. You want to write a handwritten note to the two attorneys to let them know how great it was to work with them in this transaction. And the cooperating broker. What if this is someone that you really, really like that you would love to do business with again? This is an opportunity to grow your profit share tree. Right? And so you're not the recruiter, you're the one that's making the initial contact. So it could be such a thing like, let's say I did a co-op with Patty. And I called Patty at the end of the transaction and said, Patty, you know what? I loved working with you. You were just amazing. You know, your communication was exemplary. You were always on time. I never had to guess. I happened to mention your name to my team leader and how much I enjoyed our time together. And she would like to call and thank you. Will you promise me that you'll take her call?
Sure.
So then I'm going to call Karen and I'm going to say, hey, Karen, I worked with this amazing agent. Her name's Patty Hansen. She was just marvelous and she has promised to take your call. And then you let them recruit the person. Okay? You guys got that? Dee, you got like lights go, Renee, you got lights going on?
Seriously? Is that how they got me? Seriously?
Probably.
I love that. All right, go on.
Yeah. So that's why you want all the parties involved in the transaction, right? Because like Moon, I want to establish relationships with all of these people. I want to get to know them, see if I want them to become a part of my business network. The lender. I don't know about the title insurance company or the appraiser. Again, those are business decisions that you'll have to make. How much information do you want to collect? Right? Obviously the home inspector, I don't know about you, but I'm always on the lookout for a great home inspector and a great attorney, because I've known more home inspectors and more attorneys that can bring a deal to a screeching halt. The inspector and the type of inspections that they did. So that's one transaction checklist. Now for you, is that enough information?
The more, the better.
That's right. So for me, this is just the beginning of what I want to know. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the next one.
I have a question about this checklist.
Yes.
I know this looks like in Word or some word processing style, but is it also available in our KW system where some of the information can be uploaded or picked up from like drop down menus? In that
Yep.
way, I don't have to write down all the information.
Well, part of it will be in command. So what
Okay.
we want to do, so what I want us to think about is, what is our system or model? What is the information that we are collecting? And then going into command and setting up these as opportunities or smart plans, so that every time you get a buyer, it goes right into the opportunity. So you don't miss a step. I recently went through something where my application fell through the cracks. And someone took a stand for me and said, hey, this isn't right. Would somebody please go back and check on this? And it ended up working in my favor. So we want to make sure that we're not leaving anything to our own memories or imagination. Because here's the thing, I go grocery shopping every Saturday, and every Saturday I buy the same things. I still take a list with me, right? This could be sellers, right? So where's the preliminary title report, right? That's conversations with the attorney. Clear to close from the lender. Utility readings. Now, if you're representing a buyer, you want to make sure that you're doing 360 Connect. So that's 360connect.com/KW. Let me check to make sure. Okay.
I threw it in the chat, Cheryl.
Oh, thanks, Brian. So it's 360homeconnect.com. And what this does is it takes care of all the utilities for your buyer or seller. And there's no cost. Okay, so Brian threw that in the chat. Thanks, Brian. Okay, if you live in the city, you have to provide utility payments. You don't necessarily have to do that in the suburbs. Are the buyers?
Could you expand the view so that we can read it a little better?
Oh, okay. Is that better?
No, I meant on the checklist itself.
Oh, of course, Patty. Better?
Okay, that's too much. Oh, goodness.
I see training is going well for you, Cheryl.
It is. That's why we're labbing this. How's that?
Yeah, I just meant full size, but that's all I meant.
I don't know if I can do full size, that it'll be big enough. How's that?
That's perfect. I'm going to be quiet now.
No, don't be quiet. You know I love when you chat. All right, well, here it is, 2 pages. Okay, so I'm doing a home warranty. Are there any repairs that have to be completed through the inspection period? When did the attorney prepare the deed? Have we made arrangements for the transfer of taxes? And what's the closing date? Now, some of this, because we're in Illinois and we use attorneys, it's just a matter of you knowing when these things will happen. So you are still the conductor. So this means you're the one that's checking in with the lender and the attorney. I want to caution you, you are not the client. You are the advocate for the client. So the attorneys and the lenders really don't owe you, but you want to be a part of the process. Okay, let me go over here. So here's what I would prefer my closing checklists to look like. Is that big enough, Patty?
Yes.
Okay. So prior to listing the home, listing agreement, property disclosure report, radon, lead-based paint, if it's appropriate, anti-fraud, summit title. I need to have the sellers complete all the disclosures. I need to confirm, can I put a sign in the yard? There are villages that don't allow signs, and there are condo complexes and townhomes that you're not allowed to put a sign in the yard. Should I know that information? Yeah. I want to confirm the showing instructions with the sellers. Am I going to bring in a staging company or consultant? Is that a regular part of your standard operating procedure? Are you going to order to have the sign installed? Now, there are companies that for a small fee, like $35, will store your signs and put them in the ground for you. So again, think about the system and think about the people. Is there an alarm on the house? What are the instructions from the seller? Install the lockbox. Is that central lock? Are you using central lock? Are you using a combo? Will I do brochures? Am I going to create a landing page? I'm going to submit all my paperwork in Command. I'm going to input the listing in the MLS. I'm going to share the MLS listing with the seller. I'm going to confirm that I have List Hub enabled checked so that the listing will be syndicated out to all the other sites like Zillow and Realtor. I'm going to send an e-flyer to all the local agents in the area to let them know I have a new listing. Am I going to put one of those plastic flyer boxes on the sign? Am I going to have a QR code, or am I going to have my mobile app so that people can download information about the property right from their home? Will you door knock or door hang just listed to 20 or more homes? Did I schedule a buyer tour? Did I schedule an open house? Did I create a video? Did I do a Matterport, and did I post that on YouTube? Writing a blog, sharing that listing, right? This is all in the first week, right? Then in week 2, I'm going to send a second e-blast to the neighbors. I'm going to post another ad on Craigslist. I might write another article, run a paid Facebook ad, post on social media using a different photo and link it back to your website. Review your agent feedback, submit that to the seller. We have List Hub Pro. So when you get your first listing, you want to make sure that you go over to listhub.com and register for an account. The Market Center pays for this for you, and you can run reports. Then you're going to review that feedback with the seller and take appropriate action. Now, one of the things I might add in here in week 2, 10 days, no offers. We're going to look at a price reduction or a price improvement, right? That to me is a closing checklist. What do you guys think?
Very comprehensive.
Am I going to forget something?
Not really. This should be the
right
way.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this to you so that you guys can add or take away as you see fit. But this is your model or system. Then we talk about how incorporating this into technology. Okay.
Do you have also similar kind of checklist for a buyer's agent?
Yep, right here.
Oh.
Hi, Cheryl.
Yeah.
This is Erica. I have a question. Are you going to send this to our KD? Last time I attended, I never got this checklist. So how are you going to send this based off of whoever joined their name? You're going to look up their email address?
So I send it out to Erica. What market center are you in?
Downers Grove.
Okay. I have been send it out to the coaches. One of the reasons why I'm asking you all to register now is so I know specifically who was in class so that no one gets left out.
Okay.
Okay? So you might have missed the earlier stuff because I wasn't sending it to Downers Grove directly. So that would have gone to Sam and she would have had to forward it to everybody.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
so
I never
now,
got this information.
yeah. So now that I know exactly who's coming in, I can send this directly to you.
Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks.
You're welcome. Great question.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Would this be ideal as plan of action to go over doing your listing presentation with your buyer or your seller?
I might go over my marketing list. I don't know that they necessarily need to know every single solitary thing that I'm going to do.
Okay.
I really want to save their bandwidth for the information that I need. Does anybody else feel any differently?
I would think just highlight the things that are going to be important to them.
Right.
Marketing plan.
I agree. All right, so I've got.
You can put, if I'm remembering correctly, depending on what kind of checklist we're talking about, you can incorporate the checklists into Command, and so that you're checking things off as you're doing them, and that you can send what you've done in a particular week or on a particular day to the clients and say, this is what I got, what I've completed for you, right?
Yes. Yes. Okay, so let's move on to the buyer. So I'm going to do a buyer's consultation. So I would actually add steps in here. What do I have to do first in the buyer's consultation? Right? How do I prep for the buyer's consultation? I'm going to make sure that their information is updated in Command and that I've created an opportunity. I'm going to, in my kw.com email, I'm going to create a folder for all my client correspondence so that if I have to search for anything, I know right where it is. I'm going to find out if they're securing a loan or they're paying cash. I'm going to set them up on an MLS search. We'll identify properties. To view, we'll map out those properties. I'll set those appointments. We'll go on the showings. I'll do a quick CMA to determine price. Right? So this.
I have a question. What is this quick CMA to?
So let's say that you want to go, I'm going to do it. Let's say we're looking in a particular area. Based on the homes that we're looking at, I'm just going to do a quick CMA to find out what's available within a mile of that location and what might our price points be. Okay. And then when I go to write a purchase contract, I'll do a more in-depth CMA on that property to ensure that my buyers are paying market value. Obviously, we don't create loops anymore. So I'm going to write the purchase contract, see if the disclosures are attached to the MLS so that I can have those signed. We'll need our pre-approval letter to accompany the contract. We have an app called Earnest, EARNNEST, that's pretty cool. So it eliminates the writing of checks. You just have to make sure that the other company is using it. I'm going to call the listing agent, particularly in these times, and let them know that a contract will be over today. Then we're going to go ahead and submit the purchase contract and all the accompanying disclosures. We're going to negotiate. We're going to finalize the purchase contract. We'll go ahead and get the earnest money to the listing agent. Go through the attorney home inspection review period. Once we have an executed contract, it's going to go to the attorney and the lender. We're going to secure the financing date. So the client that I worked this out with, her closing gift was a basket. And she would put in wine and wine glasses and coasters and stuff, all branded to her business. You're going to call 360 Connect. You're going to schedule the final walkthrough. We're not really attending closing right now, but you're going to need to find out where the check is going to go and the closing settlement statement. You're going to ask them if they know anybody else, and you're going to request a testimonial. Right, so these are just a few of the things that you can do with the buyer. We've got another one here for listings. All right, so I'm going to send this to you, and I'm going to post it on Facebook. And then you get to go through it and see as you, because I'm sure that this will change as you go through your business, right? And as our technology changes. So this to me is a checklist.
Do you have included as that within this, the negotiations checklist that you referred to?
Yeah, it's right here. Oh, that's the seller one. Let me go with the buyer one. Home inspection report. I'm going to upload that to Command. I'm going to discuss that report with the buyer. And then we're going to negotiate inspection items. Now, some agents want to do that themselves. I leave that to the attorneys. I let them earn their money by negotiating the inspection items. Now, the attorney that I work with is I will work it out with my buyer, write an email, send it to the seller, then he will typically forward that to the listing agent. But he's doing the negotiation once we come up with the items. Remember, for items, and we'll get to this in a later module, is health and safety. This is not an opportunity to nitpick.
Especially right now.
Right, because they've got backup offers to backup offers. The deal I'm working on with my son-in-law, they're actually renting the property that they're purchasing. And in order to make the deal really sweet, we just forgo the inspection. We didn't do one. I also waived my commission to the sellers. Right, because it's not my kid. I'm going to give him the money back anyway, right? So I probably saved the sellers $20,000. So we were able to, the house, they wanted the list at 220. We got it for 195. Because we're not doing home inspection and I waived my commission. The attorney's handling both sides. All right, so let's go over to Command and see what's over in there. Was that list helpful to you?
Absolutely.
I think that list is also helpful, Cheryl, for agents who can start thinking about what parts they like doing and what parts they can actually leverage out.
Exactly.
That's kind of the stage I'm at. Like, yeah, who can I pay to do some of this stuff?
Right. Okay, so now if I go over here and I create this opportunity, and this is one of these things we can do when we actually assign a person to this for the prototype. In fact, let's just do this right now. I'll let you guys be a part of it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a contact. And let's just say it's a buyer client. Okay. So what should we call this person? Come on, you creative people.
Billy Buyer.
Harmony. Billy Harmony.
Billy Harmony. I love that. Betty Buyer. That's what I was thinking too, Diane. What did you say? Harmony what?
I said Billy Harmony, but it could be Harmony, Melody, whatever you want.
Okay, let's do Billy Harmony. Okay. And his personal email is billy@billy.com. Okay. His mobile phone is 312-123-4567. Okay. His lead source, so I can put that down if I want to. Where did he come from? I'm just going to put buyer relationship. I'm going to mark him as a lead. I'm going to add him to the sales pipeline, and I'm going to give him a tag, and I'm going to tag him buyer. Now, I can also create another tag if I wanted to just know who my current clients are. So I don't have a tag for current clients, so I'm going to go ahead and create one. And I'm going to make it a color because that's just kind of who I am. And we're going to add. So I'm going to add more information. So his preferred method of contact is text. Right? We'll search for his address because we want to be able to send him a monthly neighborhood nurture. So I'll use my address. Well, actually, we'll use the office. And it should auto-populate so we can go ahead and grab their. Now, their Facebook profile. So if I go over here to Facebook. So my profile picture right now is my dog, and my cover photo is a hummingbird. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to grab my URL and I'm going to copy that, right click it and copy, and I'm going to go over to command and we're going to drop that right in there. Okay. I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to go to about. Okay. So it's got my phone number. So if I didn't have my phone number, I'd type that in there. I've got my wedding anniversary. I don't have my birthday in here. How odd is that? Yes, I do. So if you go over to contact and basic information, it's got my birth date and year. Year is not important. So I could go over here and I can go down to about, and I can type in my birthday. And again, you don't need the year if you don't want to. You can put it in if you want to. And let's say that I'm a past client, or once I close, you would here and you would put down the close date. Right? Now, let's say I have a spouse. So we'll call her Betty Buyer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add her. So Betty is now added to my contacts in general. So if I wanted to, I could add job title and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and create. Oh, the phone number must be valid. Okay. Okay. All right, so now here is this contact. So I can go search for Billy Harmony. So I'm going to search for Billy. Okay, so here I am. Okay, so I'm at 96%. That's a really great health score, right? So now what I can do is I can go over here and I can create an opportunity for Billy. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to create opportunity. Okay. And I could put down their estimated list price, my commission rate, what phase they're in. So I'm going to put active, and he's in showings. And let's say that he'd like to close January 15th. I'll go ahead and create. So now I have this opportunity. Okay. Okay, my bad. So this is my opportunity. So you can see that there's all these different stages here. So he's in showings, right? Now, when he moves into negotiations, I can go over here and he comes to active. So let's say that now, are you okay, Renee?
I'm just mortified. I'm so embarrassed. I'm going to interrupt you guys. I'm really sorry, but this is very important what she's doing. You're showing this, the command from a sales and marketing perspective. I think I just figured out the missing link here for me. The people who were teaching me this system were they were the operating people. They're the operations people. They're the people at KW that want all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, which is fabulous. But backing up like you're doing it and looking at it from a bigger picture, how this all, like, that is all I needed in the last, what you did with 2 minutes. It's just a shift in perception. I can probably master command just from that 2 minutes you just did, Cheryl. I was listening to all of the people who want their commission, who pay the commissions, and it was too many details for me. So again, I apologize for interrupting, but it's what Moon said. That was my transformation of light right here.
That's awesome. I'm so glad.
Yeah,
Let's say we're through negotiations and now Billy's going to go under contract. So I'm going to drag him over here. All right. So now I'm going to click on, so see all the different phases he's going, right? So he's in escrow. Well, now we're in inspections, right? And then we're through the inspection period. He's going to appraisals, right? Now, here's the beautiful part. This is your contract to close checklist. Now, you ready? You can go up here and you can edit your stages. So I can edit escrow. Actually, what I wanted, I'm sorry. I want to add a stage.
Cheryl?
Yeah.
What is the probabilities for? The percentages?
So probability is, so let me get out of here for a second. So probability is if I'm in escrow, I have a 90% chance of closing. Right? If I'm going through the inspection period, I have a 90% chance this deal is going to close.
Are these generic statistics, or do they actually change based on each client?
These are averages. The probability changes by stage.
It will update as more data is entered into command, though. Over a period of time, it will take your information and it will dynamically say you close 75% of your transactions that you get to the appraisal stage.
Gotcha. And how accurate would you say these statistics are?
Very. Keller Williams is in the data collection business. And we have 180,000 agents that are hopefully using this process that drives our data's accuracy.
Okay, I'm big on numbers. That's why it stood out to me. I had to actually meet. I have an MBA, so numbers definitely stick out to me.
Good. Good. So I can go in here and add a stage. And let's say it's going to be inspection. And we'll go negotiation. So now I know that I can send an email to the client when we know what repairs are going to be completed, and then I can save this. Right, so I want to move this up here so it's right there. So now if I go back to my list, see where it is? It goes right there. So I know that we've scheduled the inspection. Now we're in negotiations for the inspection. So you see how you can take that checklist and make this as big or as little as you like. Right? If you're, a person that's really into details, you can make this huge. If you're a broad stroke, big picture person and you don't need to know anymore than what's already in command, then don't change a thing. Okay? Does it make sense? Patty,
if you modify the stages, is it being modified just for that particular client, or is it being modified across your command?
It's modified across command. Okay. So that it's the same for every client. That's the purpose of a model or a system, so that it's always the same. Every client will get the exact same level of service. And one of my favorite quotes from Zig Ziglar is, "We are paid in direct proportion to the value that we provide." Make sense?
Yeah, I have a question. Do we have to drag the client to the next stage, or does it automatically done as it finishes as we complete?
We drag it over. So let's say we're finished with negotiations and now I'm just waiting for the appraisal. I'm going to pull Billy over there just like that.
Okay.
And then when Billy's closed, I'm going to drag him over here to close. Okay. Sometimes I might have to flip over here. Right? So then if I go back to my opportunities, it's going to tell me how many people I have in Cultivate, how many appointments I've had, how many people I'm showing, when we're under contract, and when it closes. So here's where it says my potential income is $10,500. My probable income based upon where my clients are in the process is $735. So if you look down here at my ratios, so I have 2 active listings, my probable income 735, my potential's 10,500, right? And then it shows me my projected closings down here. And then it shows my activity up here. So you can see March, April, and May, I was really busy. So it tells us, right? And then it's got a thing in here for rentals. And here's my buyer. So if I wanted to go and check on my under contracts, just click right there. And there's my buyer right there. And I could actually probably move him to right here. So let's go see what that does to my income. Nothing. But now he's moved from active to under contract. Okay, you guys with me on all this? I know it's a lot of stuff.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is I will send you the checklists, all 3 of them. I'd like you to take some time watching them. I know that if you're brand new to the business, you might not change a thing, and that's quite all right. Decide how much detail you want in that opportunity section. Okay?
Cheryl, if you don't mind, while you're in here, the document sections, where do we get those, such as the disclosures, the contracts? I forgot where that is.
Okay, so if I go over here and let's go over to Billy again. And we go to Billy, click on him right there. I'm going to go over to documents. My status, my checklist type is residential. And it's going to tell me what documents I need. Okay. Whether it's required conditionally or optional. Then I'm going to go over to here and I'm going to start a transaction. Now you have to have your DocuSign account linked to Command in order for this link to work. Then you're going to sign into DocuSign. It's with your Keller Williams email and whatever your password is for Command. I don't know why it's doing this now. Then I can go over here and I can add documents, and I'm going to do DocuSign forms. I'm going to go DocuSign forms group, buyer forms. And I'm going to exclusive buyer representation agreement, multi-board 7.0, and I'm going to add those.
Cheryl, is there a checklist so that we can know exactly which forms that are pertinent?
Yep, it's right here.
Now, when I go into mine, I set mine up like a week ago, and I did have to set up a new account because it was attached to a old email account and I couldn't remember the password, but I didn't see any of this. I don't have any of this.
If you're in your details, you have to go over to documents.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Select residential.
I'll try again because I didn't have any of this. But when I clicked on to add the documents, I was able to do that. But this right here that we're looking at now, I didn't have any of that.
Okay. Well, we can talk about that offline too.
Okay.
Okay. If it doesn't work out for you. So I also am going to need some more documents. So I'm going to go back over here to add DocuSign. This time I'm going to go to DocuSign Forms Library and I'm going to go to KW55 Illinois and I'm going to add the anti-fraud disclosure. Protect your family from let. Radon test guidelines. And I'm going to click add.
And the KW55 is only. Naperville Market Center.
Market centers, it would be,
Market Center.
yeah, it would be whatever your market center is. Thank you so much, Patty. I keep forgetting that there are people outside of Naperville.
Yeah, because I want to add something. So for our office, this feature just became available like 2 weeks ago or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So maybe other offices had the same
Could be.
mishap.
Oh, that could
Now
be
I
why I
have
didn't see it too then.
Yeah, it's there now.
Okay. So that's where you can find documents. And again, this should be part of your 15 minutes. Right? So if you are new to this call, I would love to have you go in and create a contact that's yourself and practice what you've seen. Or go create a Billy Harmony. Right? Just don't submit anything to anyone. Okay.
This is Jerry. If you create this document from the transaction, it means you have to manually fill in all the seller information if you're a buyer and all the buyer information actually on the contract, correct?
Yeah, if you go over here to details, Jerry, and you edit this and you fill out as much of this information as you can, it will auto-populate all of your forms so that you're not typing it every time. If you don't fill out the details, then you will have to complete each form. All right. We covered a lot of stuff today. Where is everybody's head right now? You can either let me know in the chat or speak out loud. Okay, what's the biggest thing that you've taken away from today?
The command. You helped a lot with the command.
Good, Renee, what did I specifically help you with?
Well, the contact part of how to transfer Facebook onto that as well. And
Okay.
then learning how to go through the process of it.
Awesome. I'm glad. Thank you. Anybody else? What's been their biggest takeaway from today?
15 minutes a day.
Awesome.
Man, 15 minutes a day.
Well, for me, it has been just like a lecture by the lady in the Gone with the Wind, and gave heart to everybody. For me, it was like that.
Awesome. Just call me Scarlett. Or Vivian.
I'm so glad, to be honest, that I was late. I tried to access your webinar, I believe, for more than an hour.
Yeah, that's what it said. I will also have this, I'm recording all of these. So if anybody wants to go back and watch it, they can.
Oh, that will be great.
So,
where can we access that?
I'll start posting them on my Facebook page, or I'll create a YouTube channel and I'll make sure that everyone gets an invitation.
Very good.
And eventually, when we get this thing all worked out, the good news is we're going to have it professionally recorded. So we won't have all the other stuff in it.
Okay.
Nice intro and an outro, and I'll wear earrings and lipstick.
Great.
Hi, Sharon. Actually, I like that part. You use a hypothetical client to go through, the command tool. That's the first demonstration I'm seeing, how to use this system. It's very easy to retain the information. Even some details I may forget when I really need that, but give me a very clear path and an example where to find something and what's the logic behind that.
Well, thank you, David.
Yeah, I wish the previous session almost we use this as the you know, like we even can use, like I am a piece of a sheet of white paper.
Yeah.
You can use me as an example to establish my agent site, and you know, just in the class that will.
Well, you know what, so that's an interesting take too. What I could do is each session I could work in someone else's command and go through that exercise.
Right. Yeah.
Each agent, the hypothetical.
Yeah.
Great stuff too.
Yeah.
When we move forward, I'll start from the beginning as a hypothetical. So.
Yeah, because from my previous sessions, I remember, yeah, you could flip through those. Because first of all, this the screen is small. It's harder to, particularly when you show someone to use the application, the computer application software. It's really hard to follow, you know. So the arrow is flipping around so quick, and you just kind of get lost very quickly. Yeah. So yeah, it's just my observation for this.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. I think it will make it better for everyone. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, another thing is tomorrow I will miss tomorrow and the day after tomorrow because I have to sign up for that Main Street.
Jumpstart.
Yeah, I do all day long tomorrow, so just to let you know. Before.
Okay. Well, we'll miss you.
I will miss you. All right.
Short answer.
Thanks.
Okay. Anybody? Anything else? A piece of value that they got out of today that they're going to take with them to move their business forward?
The 3x5 cards. I hadn't thought of that as a way to memorize before.
You know, Patty, I still have mine somewhere within arm's reach.
and it's funny because I was just in Office Depot the other day, and they had 3x5 cards that have a hole punch in them, and they're like on a key ring, and they were only 99 cents. So I'm gonna get I'm gonna get a couple of those so that I can have the 2 sets, like you said.
Awesome. Yeah, I find it because when I'm walking the dogs, I just drop the 3x5 cards right in my pocket. And when we're by the house, I don't walk the dogs on a leash. So, and when I was actually learning all that stuff, I only had 1 dog, so it was much easier. Now we have 2.
I miss that notepads or note cards usage. I couldn't understand what you're talking about.
So when I memorize my scripts, I put them all on 3x5 cards. I have 2 sets. One I carry with me everywhere. The other one I kept in my car, and I just kind of propped it up on the dashboard so that when I would stop at a red light or if I was in line in Starbucks, I would immediately go to memorizing my scripts.
Well, that's a great idea.
And now because car phones are so, or phones are so accepted, if you're talking to yourself, reading the script out loud, nobody will care.
Right. Brilliant thought, Patty. Because I'm sure when people see me walking sometimes, they're like, oh my God, here comes the old lady in the neighborhood rambling to herself again.
Okay. Just point to your ear and they'll think you're on the phone. Yeah.
I love you, Patty. Anybody, anything else that was just the thing today that moved you in the right direction you needed to go?
I would like to say, along with some of the others, the 15 minutes a day in command is super helpful because I've been in it many times and I am just so overwhelmed. So thinking about it on a smaller scale is so much, I don't know, it's just, I think I'll stick to it more because I get discouraged and then I'm like, okay, I can't do it anymore. So 15 minutes or, you know, and then also thank you so much. What week are you in out of 12?
We're actually in session 6.
Oh my gosh, it's been going on that long. Okay, because I'm in with Julie Oswald, and she's great. But it's great to hear another point of view and another, So thank you.
You're welcome. So tomorrow we're going to talk about time blocking and goals, and the models and systems we have for that, the technology that we can use, and do I have the right people in place?
Will you be talking about different ways of time blocking? I'll just leave it at that. Will you be talking about different ways to time block?
Well, I'm going to really talk about big rocks first.
Okay.
Right? We have a tendency to reverse and do the little rocks to the big rocks, and then we'll talk about electronic calendars versus paper planners.
Okay. I've heard people, pardon me?
Oh, go ahead, Patty.
I've heard people talking about time blocking like to the hour or the 15 minutes or whatever. And then I've heard people talking time blocking to the result, like rather than a set amount of time, it's till I reach this point.
Yeah, so lead generation, let's say I'm time blocked for 3 hours and my goal is to set an appointment a day. And let's say I set my appointment in the first half an hour. Am I done or do I keep going?
Mm-hmm.
So we will talk about both of those.
Okay.
Anybody, anything else?
Cheryl, one more thing. I've attended a lot of trainings, and I know a lot of times when people go into real estate, they go in full-time. However, I'm still a full-time worker. I do have a lot of flexibility, and I do attend a lot of trainings that do speak about time blocking, but I don't hear anybody ever speak to those that are still working. Suggestions for those of us that are still working who cannot sit down to the computer for 4 hours because we're working 10, 12 days.
So,
is it any way?
Yeah, so the first thing I'm going to ask you is, given the work-life balance that you have, how many hours per week are you prepared to dedicate to your real estate business? Let's say that that's 5 or it's 10 hours. Then we would take those 5 or 10 hours and prioritize your activities so that you were only engaging in money-producing activities in the short time that you have to dedicate to your real estate business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. It's just the people that I've talked to, and as much as I enjoyed the bow training, I almost feel like it wasn't for me because I felt like everything was 4 or 5 hours a day. You'll sit down and you'll do this and that. I don't have 4 or 5 hours a day where I won't sleep, So just something that's practical. I definitely am willing to put in the work. I do open houses. I'm okay with that. I just need some sort of guidance per se as to how I can get the most in with the time that I do have available.
Sure. All right, well then, if you come to the call tomorrow, then just have in your mind, how many hours are you prepared to commit to your real estate business?
Okay, all right.
Okay. All right, anybody, anything else?
Well, just for your information, tomorrow I have to attend, I believe.
Jumpstart?
Yeah, 1.5 day thing.
Okay.
I'll miss your webinar, but definitely, as you mentioned, that you will be posting everything on your Facebook and YouTube. I will try to view it.
Good. All right.
2 things, Cheryl. Can you reiterate what days this class is? Number 1, and what your work Facebook page is. I only found your personal page. Sorry.
Yeah, my work Facebook page is private. So if you friend me on Facebook, my personal page, I will.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood.
It's okay. I will add you to the EP coaching. I have a public facing coaching page, and then I have a private facing just clients.
Okay. And then what are the days what is the commitment here? You have there's 6 more classes?
So we're doing right now, we're going to do Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Okay.
And I'm time blocked 9:30 to noon.
Okay.
We may or may not go to noon depending upon the content, because again, labbing, and I don't know how long it's going to take.
Does everybody know what you mean when you say labbing? If you don't
Nope.
speak Keller Williams?
So labbing means I'm prototyping. We're testing this material. I have never taught this class in this format before. So what I'm doing is I'm teaching the class and then making adjustments at the end of every session. Like when David said, what if we prototype? Well, that's brilliant. So now I'm going to go back and how do I create the content so that we can prototype it or put it in context of I have a new buyer, I have a new seller, right? Which is greatly going to change things. Thank you for that, Patty. I forget that I speak Kellerism sometimes and you expect that everybody else is tagging right along with you. Okay, anybody, anything else? All right, I want to thank you for your patience, your time, your sense of humor, the information that you shared with me. Please remember that my sole purpose here is to serve you in creating the business that you want, right? Not the business that anybody else wants. And hopefully for those of you that are in Jumpstart tomorrow, go in with an open mind, be prepared to learn a lot. And I'll probably see you next week then. And then hopefully I'll see as many of you tomorrow as possible.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you.